Who doesn't love a charm bracelet? Today I'm making a beaded bracelet with some beautiful charms. Hello, welcome back. My name's Carol. I've been a bit slack and it's my sister's birthday this week and I haven't made her a present yet. Now she loves knitting and sewing, so I'm going to be making her a little charm bracelet with some knitting and sewing themed charms on it. I will walk you step by step through the process of making this and I'll talk to you about everything you need. So let's get making. Obviously we're going to need some charms. So I have chosen some that work for my sister's hobbies. I've got a ball of yarn with some needles through it. I've got a pair of scissors. I have a little sweater here being knitted on some knitting needles, which I think is very cool. I have a button and a safety pin, and I've got a heart. Now I know the heart isn't related to sewing or knitting, but it's to let my sister know that I love her. Hi Dawn! As well as that, I have a clasp here, a lobster clasp. I've got 2 head pins. In terms of beads, I'm going to be using some 3mm silver balls, and you know that I love these if you've watched my channel before. I've got some 3mm glass bicones and some 6mm faceted round beads. These are both in the colour aquamarine. I've got some daisy spaces or beaded rondelles. I have got 3 of these beautiful Tibetan style tube beads. I've got 2 pink 6mm bicones, and this one, the colour is called Silk. I've got some 6mm jump rings and some 4mm jump rings. In terms of tools, I'm going to be using my 2 pairs of chain nose pliers. I'm going to be using my round nose pliers, a pair of flush cutters, and I will probably use my 1-step looper as well. In the description box below, I will leave you a link to a blog post which will set out everything that you need for this project, as well as step-by-step instructions if you would rather follow along that way. Okay, let's make a charm bracelet. The first thing we're going to do is add some 4mm jump rings to all of our charms. If you haven't used jump rings before, I will leave you a link in the description box below for a video all about jump rings. Okay, so I'm taking my jump ring and I'm putting my pliers on either side and twisting down with my hand to open it. And I'm going to feed on my little charm, and then I'm going to close my jump ring up just by reversing that process. Now you do want to make sure they're really well closed. You can see what that looks like. Okay, now I'm going to repeat that for the rest of the charms. Now I've got all of my charms with their jump rings attached, and here is what they look like. So you can see my little jump ring is attached to the loop there. So what I'm going to do next is make up some runs of 6mm jump rings and attach my charms to them. So I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, and I want 1 open jump ring and I want 2 closed ones. So that one is closed, that one is closed, and this one is open. That makes life easier. Now I'm going to put on holding my jump ring, my open jump ring in my pliers. I'm going to feed on my little 4mm jump ring of my charm, like that. And now I'm going to put on my 2 6mm jump rings as well, like that. And now I want to close up my jump ring. That's what I have now. Now what I'm looking for here is the jump rings to be going in a very specific way. So if I hold it up, you can see that the jump ring attaching to the charm is facing the camera, kind of side on. The 2 outer ones are also side on, and the middle one there that the charm attaches to is showing you its face, so it's round. You can see the roundness of it. So that's what I want. And I'm going to attach those jump rings to all of the other charms in the same way. Sorry, I forgot to tell you not to do that with the heart, because the heart is different. It's going on the end by the clasp. So I'm just going to put that aside for a minute so that I don't accidentally attach it. I'm popping my clasp aside too. The next thing I'm going to do is make up my beaded components. So the first one I am going to do, did I tell you we need wire? We need some 20 or 22 gauge half hard wire, in case I forgot to tell you that. Now the first loop I will make manually so that you can see it, and then I'm going to switch to using my one-step looper just because it's quicker. So the first thing I need to do is make sure I've got a flush cut, which I do have. If you can see there, the wire is nice and flat, the cut. Have I got the, there we go. So on this end I don't have a flush cut and it's kind of pointy. So I'm wanting to use my flush cut. And I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to put them about a centimetre from the end of the wire, and I'm going to bend the wire over. Now if you haven't made loops before, I have a video all about how to make them and how to troubleshoot them when they go wrong, because they often do, and so I will leave that one linked in the description box below. So now I'm taking the end of the wire in my jaws of my round nose pliers, making sure it's not sticking up, popping my thumbnail into that bend, and I'm twisting my hand down and around, repositioning and going again. And I had to do that a few times because I didn't get there the first time. And I'm just going to give it a wee squeeze to make sure it's nice and flat. There is my loop. Now onto this, I am going to put on one of my little 3mm balls, one of my tube beads, and another 3mm ball. Like that. And I'll make one more loop manually. I'm putting my thumbnail on the top of those beads and I'm pressing the wire over so that it is at a right angle. Then I'm taking my flush cutters and I'm going to cut my wire at about a centimetre using a flush cut. Now I'm going to make a loop in this end, just in the same manner. Okay, so there is my component. Now for this particular piece, I need both of my loops going the same way. So I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and hold each loop in the pliers, and you can see there that they're going in opposite directions. So I want to make sure that they are going in the same way. So I do that just by turning my hand when the loop is in my pliers. I know I told you last week when I made my butterfly necklace that you should have the loops going in the opposite directions, but this is a special circumstance because we need them to connect to the jump rings. So there's my component with its loops going in the correct direction, or they're both going in the same direction. So I need 2 more of those, so I'll go ahead and make those. There are all 3 components, and I'm going to put those ones aside and I'm going to make my beautiful beaded ones now. Taking some more wire, and I'm just going to cut off a little bit. And this time I am going to use my one-step looper just because it's faster. So if you haven't seen a one-step looper before, I'll leave you a link in the description box below to a video all about how to use them, how this little beauty changed my life. There we go, there's my loop, made in just seconds. Just going to flatten it a little bit. And I am going to put on one of my silver beads. So I'm making the pink one first. So 1 silver bead, 2 of my daisy spacers, my beautiful pink bicone, 2 more daisy spacers, and 1 more of my silver balls. So that's what I have. Now I'm going to make a loop. It's not quite closed, I'll just give it a wee wiggle. There we go. And once again, I want to make sure that my loops are both going in the same direction for this project. So there we go, there's component number 1, or number 2. And next I'm going to make another one with my blue beads. Just taking my wire, making a loop. And this time I'm going to feed on one of my gorgeous little 3mm bicones. If I can find the hole. Where's it gone? There we go. Okay. So the problem here is I've got a little burr on the end of my wire, and that's stopping the beads going on. So sometimes, maybe you can see it. Sometimes you just need to take a little nip off the end. Just hold it, cover it so it doesn't fly away, and then put it in your rubbish bin so it doesn't end up on the floor. Okay, let's try that again. So on with my 3mm bicone, on with one of my beaded rondelles, my 6mm round beaded rondelle, and another bicone. So that's what I have. Now when you're making a loop with your one-step looper and you've got a little glass bead on the end, you need to be a little bit careful not to get too close to that bead. You want to be close enough that you're not going to have too much gap, but what happens is when this jaw comes around, sometimes it can shave a little bit off that little glass bead, so you need to just be aware of that. And I want to make sure that they're both going in the same direction. There's my little component. Now it's time to lay it out. We're going to go clasp and this charm, and then we're going to put on this one and this charm, and then I think we'll go with a blue one and this charm, one more of these, and our pink one, and then one more of those. Now to join this all together, there is a particular way you need to do it so that the charms all hang on the bottom. You don't want one on the top and one on the bottom because it won't ever hang right. So I'm going to first attach my clasp. I'm going to take a 4mm jump ring and open it. I know it seems weird to be attaching my clasp at the beginning, but it works. So popping on my clasp, and I'm going to take my jump rings here, or my charm, and I'm going to pull one jump ring out of the way and hang the other one. So there we go. You can see that little jump ring is hanging free. So now I'm going to put that jump ring onto my 4mm jump ring and close it up. So I've got a clasp, my clasp and my 6mm jump ring inside that 4mm jump ring. So now we have our clasp attached to a 4mm jump ring, a 6mm, and then the 6mm with our charm attached, and one more 6mm. So I'm going to take the first tube bead component and I'm going to open the loop just by holding it on the side with my pliers, supporting the rest of it with my thumb and my forefingers, and turning my wrist down. Now I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to hold it so that this jump ring is now hanging free. And I'm going to put that jump ring onto this loop and closing up that loop. So you can see now that charm is hanging on that jump ring on the lower part. And you'll see what I mean about the jump rings on either side going sideways, and the one that the charm is attached to is facing the front. So that's what we're aiming for. Now I do suggest when you're putting this together that you lay it down on your mat each time you make an addition. And the reason for that is you want to make sure that everything is facing the right way. This is a single-sided charm, as is this one. And so I need to make sure that they're all facing the same way. So the easiest way to do that is to put this down every single time. So now I'm going to take that component and I'm going to open the loop on the other end of the tube component, and I need to attach my jump ring here. So just holding the other jump ring and the charm out of the way and popping it on and closing it up. There you go, and you can see it's hanging on the bottom of that jump ring again. Now we're going to repeat that same process with these other components. When you get to the single-sided one, just make sure to hold it up and make sure that it's facing the right way before you add the next one. There's my charm bracelet so far, and you just want to check that all of the charms are hanging off the bottom side of the loop. So when I lay it down here, you can see that they are all on the bottom. If you're enjoying this tutorial and would like to see more, remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you won't ever miss a thing. Also, give me that thumbs up. If you would like to see even more of my content, you can also join my private membership group here on YouTube called The Jewellery Box, and you will find a join button down below this video as well if you'd like to do that. All right, now we have some dangles to make. So we're going to take our head pins and we're going to make some little dangles for the end. And to do that, I am going to take one of my little 3mm balls and a couple of beaded rondelles. I'll need 2 for this. So basically we're repeating this, but we're doing it on a head pin instead of with a loop on either end. 2 more of my beaded rondelles and 1 more of my balls. That's what I have. Now I'm going to make a loop in the top. When you're using a head pin, it's really good to kind of push your thumb against the head of the pin when you put it into the one-step looper, just to make sure that the beads are all nicely pushed up. Someone rang me the other day and she said to me, you make using the one-step looper look really easy. Well, clearly I don't when I make loops that look like that. But it's savable. So what I will do here is I'll hold it on the side, I'll lift it up and down a few times and move it towards the wire coming out of the beads. And if it's not round enough, you can see it's not quite round enough, you can pop your round nose pliers in here and just give it a bit of a wiggle, pull it back a bit. Just use the techniques that I showed you in the troubleshooting loops video, because they work exactly the same even if you've made it with a one-step looper. Here we go. Not the best loop I've ever seen, but it works. Now I'm going to make my blue one, and to do that I am going to take a little 3mm bicone and then a beaded rondelle, my 6mm round, another beaded rondelle and my last bicone. So that's what I have, and hopefully this loop will be better. Now remember not to get too close to that little bicone. It was marginally better. Still not close, so I'll close it. Okay, and we also need to do something with our little heart charm. So I said that this end piece was different from this end piece, and the difference is that the charm and these dangles are actually going to go on the end jump ring. So I'm going to take a 6mm jump ring, 3 6mm jump rings, and I've got 2 closed and 1 open again, and this time I'm going to add on my heart. No, I'm not. I'm just going to add on 1 jump ring, and I'm going to add on the end component of my bracelet here. And I'm going to close up my jump ring. So that's what I have, 2 jump rings attached to the end of my component. Next, I'm going to open another jump ring, and I'm going to perform a miracle. I'm going to put so much in this jump ring you won't believe it. Not really. What I'm going to do is put on the end jump ring, so make sure it's the one that's hanging free, and then I'm going to put on my charm. Now this is a single-sided charm, so I need to make sure that it's going in the same direction as the others, which is that way. Then I'm going to put on my 2 components I just made, my 2 dangles, and I'm going to close up that jump ring. So there we go. And that is the bracelet finished. So to do it up, we are just going to take the clasp and it's going to go into that last jump ring. But of course, if your wrist is a little bit smaller, you could put it into this jump ring and it will just dangle down. So there's my bracelet, and you can see all of the charms are hanging down, which is a good thing. That's what we want. Do you think she'll like it as much as I do? Leave me a comment in the comment section below and let me know if you like it as much as I do. Remember, if you are wanting to make this charm bracelet, the top link in the description box below will take you to a blog post, and that will set out everything you need to make it, as well as step-by-step instructions. Also, you might like to check us out on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thank you so much for watching today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon.